Yo, what up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Teethdaggers Stream. Today, we are reacting to how one bad episode ruined a podcaster's entire life by Sunny V2. I'm gonna go ahead and say it ahead of time. I'm predicting another clickbait drama farm, but hate on me if you want it. Let's get right into the video.
It was the 84th episode of the H3 podcast. Host Ethan Klein chose to interview his favorite comedian Bill Burr.
And I was such a big fan of Bill Burr, obviously, who isn't? He's a legend.
But after 54 minutes of talking, Ethan's life had been altered permanently.
That's when I started taking antidepressants, after that episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, you'll need to remember a specific date.
I don't think there's anything anybody could say that would make somebody want to take antidepressants the whole time. Like, what could petrify somebody in that type of way? I guess we'll have to find out.
The 12th of September 2018. It was not only the day when the episode was first posted, but it was also a day when viewers were already annoyed at Ethan for something he'd done prior.
I hate to say this, guys, but things like that are Ethan's way of, it might also be true, but that's also Ethan's way of kind of drama farming content, whether you like it or not. Now, that was a really intense example, so you might want to hate on me for that one, but that was just an example. That's all it was. And he does many things like that he'll blow things out of proportion. I like Ethan, though. I'm not dissing him. You just might hate on me for what I'm saying, for dissing your favorite YouTubers, or not dissing them, like calling them out. It's all part of the content is what I'm saying. Everything there is made for entertainment.
You see, just 5 days beforehand on the 7th of September, Ethan used his H3H3 Productions main channel to advertise a game they'd been building, which was especially annoying since they hadn't uploaded anything else over the previous 3 months. We waited 3 months for a 2.5-minute ad. I can't skip the ad for some reason. So disappointing that we wait for 3 months and this is a standalone video. This is something that belongs tagged at the end of a good old H3H3 vid, with the backlash prompting Ethan to respond via Twitter. This therefore established that in the same week as interviewing Bill Burr, Ethan was not only increasingly prone to criticism, but his confidence had also been crushed.
There was a lot going on in my head.
Which was certainly awful timing, as Ethan...
Dude, actually, come to think about it, Ethan has cycles where he does exactly what he was just doing. Like, I had to take antidepressants. First of all, that could have totally been a joke to try to get audience to laugh because the interview was so bad I had to take antidepressants. Who knows? It could have been true. I'm not looking it up right now. But one thing you can notice, maybe the most recent thing, was the Israel thing. So I think Ethan is being honest, or actually I know he's being honest with what he's talking about, but he's using that opportunity for the best type of camouflage, those real opportunities, to hide his other different drama farm stuff. He can go through these cycles, and he has to choose one where it is a real opportunity, even if he just makes it himself, and then he has to, then he goes down and does like a different one, like more of like a bratty one, like maybe teasing Hassan, for example. He does the cycles, he does the waves to make you emotionally attached.
Ethan was set to face his toughest guest so far. Bill Burr had been running his own Monday morning podcast since May of 2007, meaning he had 11 years of podcasting experience compared to Ethan's year and a half. Ethan skipped all the side quests and went straight for the boss. Ethan was therefore extremely nervous from the moment the episode started.
I am so neurotic. I am nervous. I'm nervous right now.
Okay.
Very nervous.
I don't think that's going to help.
How do you, was there ever, no,
trust me. I'm on edge.
Only made worse given Ethan and his wife were both massive fans of Bill Burr's show.
Like, we were listening to his podcast every day during that time.
Ethan therefore also began the episode with a compliment, although there was a reason this made Bill somewhat uncomfortable. In a Hollywood Reporter interview, it was stated, even a compliment can potentially rub Burr the wrong way. As Bill explained, if someone was really nice, I would just be like, get away from me. If someone was an asshole, it's like, oh, that seems familiar. For whatever reason, I don't like being complimented, which killed the episode from the second the podcast started.
Ethan came into this interview too much as a fan, as a listener of Bill's podcast, and Bill came into this podcast with an attitude of, I don't know who you are, I don't give a shit.
As mentioned, it quickly became obvious that Bill didn't want to be there, which, as highlighted by Red Bar, is the perfect mixture for a terrible show.
Bill Burr seems to be in a nasty little mood, and that could ruin the whole interview. Look at him. Look how miserable he is.
Whether or not Bill was in a bad mood would be up for debate later, although as the interview continued, something became obvious. Bill Burr wasn't going to blindly agree with everything Ethan said, and would always give his honest opinion, even if it hindered the course of the episode.
He's not being a good interview.
That makes the episode better. Like, that's another type of drama farm. Like, I can't believe what's going on here. I feel like this is a drama farm about a drama farm that went overboard and affected Ethan. But we all love Ethan and all know that he's a little bit sensitive. So same with me. I'm sensitive. I'm not saying that he's like more sensitive than any other person. But we know that he's more sensitive than that guy. And so maybe situations could hurt him like that, because he did idolize that guy, and that was like that guy was making drama in here on purpose for the content. Exactly. He has a PR. He could have been nice if he wanted to. He just didn't, because his PR probably was like, it's fine if you're not nice, because the publicity with this guy, if you're just mean, will cause better publicity, and people will actually like you more, because a lot of people will think you owned this guy, and also you're like a more famous comedian or whatever, so you're like a real comedian. So, yeah. Go on and own him.
Interviewee. You can be gracious, and maybe the question's not perfect, but you can, accommodate it with like a good answer and put.
Whoa, he just said what I just said. He could have been nice.
Bring it back to a good place. He doesn't like to do that at all.
Ethan got his first taste of this when suggesting the following point.
Bullying's almost important in a way, isn't it? Like, you gotta allow kids to give each other shit.
I don't think as a parent you ever allow it.
Sure.
Although it became more obvious 10 minutes later when the two started talking about the dog whisperer.
Does he even know anything?
I think Ethan was right there. I think you guys gotta, sometimes you guys gotta let people tough it out. There's a term, let boys be boys.
I also wonder, does he just pretend like he knows?
Well, I think the guy knows what he's doing.
Okay, all right.
He got a TV show. You're a really cynical guy, man.
I thought you were down. I thought you were going to be down.
That is a lot for me to say that.
I thought
you're
you were going to be down,
cynical
but
and
apparently
mean.
I'm cynical even to Bill Burr.
Given the podcast was being streamed in real time, viewers gave their live reactions in a Reddit thread reading, "Am I the only one who's finding this podcast super awkward? What is
Ethan called it out, though. He was like, I'm cynical, even compared to him, being all sarcastic. That guy was being cynical by saying the sentence that he said, saying, oh, it takes a lot for me to say you're cynical, when Ethan just asked a simple question. Do you guys see how it's freaking drama farm already?
what is wrong with Ethan?
There's a bunch of different types of drama farm made to fool their favorite viewers.
Ethan. He's not laughing at any of Bill's jokes, and it's like he's lost all conversational skills, prompting a top comment reading, "Yeah, there's no chemistry between Bill and Ethan." However, things only got worse from here, as after 54 minutes of talking, the following exchange occurred.
It seems like you're in love with your daughter, hearing you talk about her on the podcast.
Jesus Christ. Well, you're pretty perceptive. It seems like you care about your own child.
Listen, more than that, okay? Because again, you're this character. You gush over your daughter. Not everyone gushes. Did your dad gush over you?
My dad actually at work did. And he also had a zillion kids, so I mean, yeah.
Really? How many siblings do you have?
I don't know, dude. The internet's too fucking weird to give out all that information.
Oh, you don't even want to say how many because you're afraid that it will
Yeah, by all means,
compromise
keep
your
talking
privacy.
about it. Is there any way you can cut this out? I'm honest, dude. Like,
Seriously?
Yeah, no, dude. This fucking
He's awkward, bro.
lunatics out there.
Okay.
Well,
Off the air, I'll tell you.
all right.
Jeez. I love how surprised he is. Jeez.
Well,
There's
you can mention the amount.
There's absolutely crazy people out there.
Okay.
Dude, he's acting. Oh my god, dude. I can see right through this. I hope you guys can too. This guy's super famous. He knows he's been in crazy situations, so he's using that as the excuse because he knows that his audience are being like, wow, he's probably been in really crazy situations. And he probably has. But the thing is, they both know, since Ethan is big enough to where he can mention things like that and be fine, they both know that probably would have been okay. I don't know too much personally, but I think Ethan would have been down to mention something like that. He knows the extent that things that would be a hard fact to use to make something crazy about, right? Even if you clipped it or something. And this guy, like, I'm telling you, this guy is making drama for his audience that I talked about earlier, who is like, wow, this big famous guy who is pretty edgy. Obviously, he has sketchy people out there. How dare Ethan? This guy's putting on an act. Plus, he's a professional actor. Like, he's good at this. And Ethan probably shouldn't have been like on his show, because that gave this guy ammunition. But it was, I agree with Ethan, dude. That was, this guy was just being a weirdo. But he was doing it on purpose. He's not a weirdo because he's a weirdo. He's a weirdo because he's trying to appeal to the people who are like, oh, it's him. And he feels like he can do that because he's starting to realize, he's getting cocky since he's starting to realize he's bigger than the show he's on.
Yeah. No. Whew. All right. I don't know why that got so flat.
With Bill being direct and private, and Ethan being curious and open, the conversation failed to flow for a pretty obvious reason.
You could not have picked two totally different people.
Why would that guy agree to go to an interview if he wasn't going to answer any questions?
To get together and have an interview.
This could be observed when Ethan doubled down on the compliments.
The greatest Bill Burr.
Oh, geez.
I do mean that, by the way. I know it makes you uncomfortable.
It
but
does.
Although there was one final question that put the podcast in a casket. 12 years beforehand in 2006, Bill Burr
But that's Bill Burr's fucking problem, yo.
had performed a stand-up set in Philadelphia where he basically roasted the audience to their face, and in response he was booed by everyone. The set has since been considered legendary given Bill would even go there. However, when Ethan brought it up on their episode, Bill Burr wasn't looking to talk about it.
it was when you were getting booed by thousands of people
I was
in
hoping
Philly.
you were. I was like, when you said my favorite
You don't-
YouTube video, I was like, oh god, not the Philly thing again. Now I hate you.
Oh no.
I love. What can I do? I love that.
I'm joking. I'm fucking with you. Go ahead, let's do it.
But do you? But, no, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna ask you.
You've been moved before.
You've talked about this a lot. I didn't
Yes.
realize.
No, but go ahead. Let's
now,
do it.
Well,
Let's
now
do it.
I
We can
frankly,
skip
I like
it.
making you.
I would
I like making
to
you.
skip it.
I like making you uncomfortable.
Well, what
do
am I
this
supposed
thing.
to? Well, what am
You're
I?
doing this.
Yeah, right.
You know, you
Well, like, see, he's admitting it, and this is a real smile. Eyes squinting, cheeks up, boom, real smile, wrinkles in forehead. Dude, he's like admitting it. I feel like since Sunny V is such a famous YouTuber, he knows what's going on here as well. Like, I can't be the only one to be able to call it out. And I know you guys are going to hate on me for calling this type of shit out. And go ahead. I'm used to it, but no.
And now what do you want me to be? Well, what was going through your head, Bill, when you're getting booed by all those people?
I don't know.
Yet the two completed the episode by insisting that things had gone well.
I almost made it through without making an ass of myself. I got so close.
What are you talking about? I had a great time.
I did too. I really did.
I hope you did. I'm worried about you.
I did.
Thank God you got-
I'm playing it up. I'm playing it up.
The audience reaction, however, couldn't have been more negative. Longtime H3H3 fan, but I'm really struggling staying with the podcast. We all knew that Ethan wasn't a great podcast partner / interviewer, but today it's just horrible. Bill's realness really contrasts Ethan's wacky performance, which is further...
Bill's fucking plan, like I just talked about, the people who knew both of them and kind of knew that this guy was more famous, and even if they didn't know Bill was more famous, Ethan was kind of making that a point, telling his audience that he's more famous. Bill was playing into that. And when you're a comedian, you know how to do improv to shit right on demand, yo. Like you can hear something going on and you can play it for your benefit. This guy was trying to cash a check.
That by a meme reading who would win. Stand-up comedian, actor, voice artist, writer, musician, producer and social critic, industry veteran at 25 plus years, or a comedian who dresses up in costumes and says the memes. In a different post, u/SkyKid200 highlighted, "You know you messed up when you make Bill Burr cringe," and in the one and only post questioning, "Am I the only one around here who didn't think the interview with Bill Burr was bad?" the top comment simply stated yes. On the video itself, KG stated, "This just made me like Bill more than I already did," although there were others who thought Bill was the one who messed up the interview.
What I would say to Bill Burr is get a grip. There's going to be 1 million people watching this. If you don't want to do it, don't come. Don't be a crank.
That's what I just said. If he didn't want to answer questions, why did he agree to an interview? But he wasn't being a crank. This guy is adding to the drama on purpose. He's laughing right here, first of all. Genuine laughing. He said he enjoyed being on the show with a smile on his face. He said he liked fucking with Ethan, and he was doing that all for content. Probably because some of his people knew that Ethan might have been like try to got you type of guy. Or maybe he expected all interviewers to ask difficult questions, so he wanted to be difficult with the interviewer. This guy is just adding to the drama. Like, they all know what they're doing, almost like a plan.
There's no room for cranks in these interviews.
The unpopular opinion was that Bill Burr was the douche, as he was purposely trying to be superior to Ethan the entire time. And the sibling shit, that was a dumbass overreaction by Bill. I know how many siblings Bill Burr has. Let's use this info to find him somehow. Bill came off as that baby boomer kind of guy who doesn't quite get what you are saying, and to compensate tries to
No, he was fucking kidding, though.
Make you feel uncomfortable. This was also argued by another user who wrote, "I'm curious, if I know the amount of siblings of a person, what would that kind of information ever benefit me, even if I was someone who would have vicious thoughts in their head? Ridiculously overreacted," although as was highlighted in the comments, Bill certainly has the right to his own privacy. Who was at fault wasn't important anyway. All that mattered was the interview went so poorly, Ethan cancelled all of his following podcast guests.
I was canceling episodes after that.
And instead hosted 7 weeks worth of episodes with just him and his wife, one of which addressing how the show had become hated.
It feels like nobody likes this podcast and everybody wants it to go away, but somebody likes it. I mean, people watch it, right? I mean, there's a few out there. This person likes it.
This was addressed in detail only 2 videos later, in which Ethan didn't reference the...
And that's the type of content like Boogie would do. These guys all just do content. That's why they film it. And then they know they're they've been on YouTube for years, so they know exactly what to say and what wording to use to help with people's psychology. And they were sort of drama farming right there, slash begging, slash they were looking for recognition. It was kind of like how some women will like go on dating sites to look for recognition. They were looking for recognition. However, they knew how to hide it really, really well, as not only looking for recognition, but also as like drama content, like will H3H3 break up? And then a lot of people show a lot more support who are like, damn, I've been taking them for granted, I should let them know I like them.
The Bill Burr episode, but explained that something had derailed his life.
About 2-3 months ago is when I kind of hit rock bottom, and I was just so miserable that I was so tired. I didn't no longer want it to be myself.
As a result of this unspecified event, Ethan had begun using antidepressants.
So I had this bottle of antidepressants in my bedside, and I said, after dealing with this and hitting rock bottom, I started taking it.
Which was the only alternative to ditching the podcast completely.
I have thought about quitting the podcast, honestly.
A lot.
Yeah. Because it's been such a pain. It's been so painful at times.
Ethan instead doubled down on the broadcasting by discussing his Bill Burr experience with the most unlikely of people, Theo Von. You see, Theo had his own disaster podcast with Bill, where Bill also acted harshly towards Theo for asking fairly innocent questions.
Do you keep a weapon on yours or no?
On what?
In your, I don't know if you have a helicopter, if you rent a helicopter.
Do I really have to answer that? He knows goddamn well I don't have a weapon. Why are you doing this?
You don't? You wouldn't have a gun? I don't think it's obtuse really to think you might have a weapon in there with you. Think about it.
Yeah, think about it.
Okay, all right.
You think about it.
All right.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Fine.
Theo and Ethan therefore met to discuss what had happened, where Ethan confirmed his rock bottom moment was because of the Bill Burr episode.
I went into therapy after that episode. I'm not
really?
I'm not even being kidding. I mean, I was having a depressive episode for a long time.
Right.
And I had these antidepressants next to my bed. And after that episode with Bill Burr, I came home and that's when I started taking antidepressants.
This episode worked earlier, so he's bringing it again as a new content episode.
Since then, I went to therapy.
Wow.
It was soul crushing.
Ethan then explained why the interview was so tough for him.
When he sees an opening, he attacks.
Yeah.
He is unlike anyone else I've ever interviewed because he's not willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. He will expose any chinks in your armor.
And that the hardest part to deal with was how the audience reacted.
It didn't feel that bad, but it was the reaction, the audience reaction to it afterward.
However, for those revisiting the original podcast, Ethan admitting to therapy opened a brand new point of criticism. H3 just said bullying is important. That's rich considering he needed therapy and antidepressants after a simple conversation with Bill Burr. It's ironic that Ethan said sometimes kids need to be bullied when he later cried about how hard the Bill Burr interview was. The fact that he went into therapy after this interview is crazy LOL, although Ethan was preparing for a shot at redemption.
Whoa. I was definitely right 100%. This title is called How One Bad Episode Ruined a Podcaster's Life. The trick was you didn't know which podcaster was talking about. The thing is, it's talking about H3H3. H3H3's life, everybody knows, is not ruined. And that being said, guys, if you enjoyed that video and you want to watch the rest of it, it is called How One Bad Episode Ruined a Podcaster's Life by Sunny V2. Hell yeah, guys! For more video reactions, subscribe below!